Hi there. In this video, what we want to do is we want to start with this transactional data that we've got right here, which is all of the order detail items for all of our sales in all of our stores. And what we want to do is we want to, for each store, find out how many unique orders there were, which is to say, how many times did somebody actually walk up to a cash register and buy something, or buy several things. And to do that, we're going to both be using a group by, which is what we've been looking at recently, as well as several other techniques that we've learned up until this point. So a little background, here's our data, right? And you might think to yourself, just looking at this, that each one of these rows corresponds to an order, and that's not actually correct. The way it works is, this could be called order detail. So when a person walks up to a register, they might buy like 4 distinct separate things, and this is the way that you might see it handled in a database. So this is for each order detail, or for each thing that got bought, there's a unique row, and they can order, 1 or 3 of them. But if they order a different thing at the same time they walk up to a register, they would get a different row here. So this person bought 1 bran muffin. They also bought 3 lemon muffins, 3 small green teas, and 1 coffee, and that's one order. See, there's an order number here. The next person, by contrast, bought these things. Okay, so we can't just count the number of rows per store to figure out how many orders there were, because that's the number of items that were purchased. What we need is a distinct count for each store of how many order numbers there were. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so to get started, we're going to start by we're here in groupby.xlsx. We're in the advanced sheet. Here's the data we want to work with, so we're going to click on it. We're going to head up to Power Query, and we're going to get our data from a table. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we want to get this table, but we want the filter version of this table for each individual store. So let's go do that. We're going to head to Group By. So we're going to group by store, and rather than getting an aggregated column, which is what we often work with, what we actually want is the filtered table. And the operation is not a summary, but all rows. So we're going to click OK. So for each store, what we end up with is the original table that we had here filtered by the store, right? So the table right here is this, but only for rows where the store equals Camus. And this table right here is this table, but filtered only for the rows where the store equals Foster. So if you want to think about it, this is all of the order ID rows associated with the Camus store. This is all of the order ID rows, or the order rows associated with the Foster store, and Belmont, and Kent, and Vancouver, and so forth. Okay, so now that we've got that, the next thing we're going to have to do is, so here we've got our order column here in our little subtable. We want to get a list of the distinct values for this. In order to do that, first we're going to have to extract this column right here. So to do that, let's head up to Add Column. We're going to click on the Add Custom Column. And what we want to do is we want to grab each one of these tables, and we're going to extract let's see, make sure I get this right. We're going to extract the order column from it. So let's head to Add Custom Column. So we're going to get the filtered table. And from each filtered table, from each one of these tables up here, we only want to get one column. We don't want the whole table, we just want one column, and that's going to be the order column. So we're going to use square brackets after referencing the table to just get the order column from that table. And this is going to return a list. It's going to return a list of the orders, so I'm just going to call this list orders. And click OK. So now if we click here in the little white space next to the listing, we can see that, let's move this up here, that over here, for the filter table for Camus, here's all the orders for all the order details. We've got the couple zeros here for the first order, then some 2s here for the next order. But we've also got all this other stuff associated with it. Here, we just have that order column as a list. So we get the 0s and the 2s. So here's all the order IDs from every single transaction that occurred at the Camus store. So what we need now is we need a distinct version of this list. So rather than having 4 zeros here, there should just be 1 0. And however many 2s there are, there should just be one 2. So to do that, we're going to head over to Add Custom Column. And so move this out of the way. Oh, can't move it out of the way. So we're going to call this a list distinct of orders. And to do that, well, we're going to get the list orders list that we created a second ago, but we don't just want that. We want to do something to it. We want to get a distinct version of that list. So we're going to do list.distinct, open parentheses, close parentheses. So this is going to take that list that we just generated and remove all of the duplicate values from it, if you will. We're going to click OK. So now where we had 0, let's move this up, 0, 0, 0, 2, 2, 2, or here we've got 1, 1, 9, 10. Here we've just got 1, 9, 10. See the difference? This has got all the values, even if there's duplicates. This one is filtered down to just the unique values. Okay, so now that we've got this, all we really have to do is count how many values are in this list right here, and then we have the distinct number of orders for each store, which is what we want. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to add a custom column, and we're going to call this count of orders, and we're going to get the list of distinct orders, right? So there's the list that we're going to work with, but we don't just want the list, we want the count of that list. So we're going to do a list.count, use that function right there to count up how many values are here in this list. I'm going to click OK, and there we go. So now we can actually left click up there, shift click there, right click, and remove columns because we don't need them anymore. We needed them to get this number, but now that we've got the number, we don't need it. And now for each store, we've got the count of unique orders. Now we know how many times a person actually walked up to the register in our stores. So real briefly, just to go through that again, we started here, we grabbed, for each one of these, like the source data that we worked with, we got a new version of it, filtered down just to each individual store. So this is all the transactional, or the order detail items associated with Camus, and here's all the ones associated with Foster. We extracted just the order column from that to get this list right here. Notice this is a table because it had multiple columns. This is a list. It's sort of one column. Okay, that was good. Then what we needed to do is we needed to remove all the duplicate values because we just want to know how many individual, like, unique orders exist. So to do that, we used the let's see, where are we? We used the list.distinct function to generate this list right here, which is the list we had before, but only the distinct values. And finally, all we did was count up this list to get that number right there. We removed all these sort of intermediary steps, and we're done. So I'm going to go, well, I don't normally do this, but I'm going to go ahead and close and load just so you can see what it looks like. So we're going to head up to File, Close and load that data back into the Excel workbook. Boom, there we go. That's the information we needed. Okay, well, I do hope that was helpful, and I will see you next video.